advantage of this time and quickly film a really brief video that's kind of like a tutorial that I know I've been asked before. For instance, I on Saturdays work half a day on most Saturdays. So when I go to work, chances are my makeup kind of looks like what it looks now, which is just some foundation, concealer, a little bit of contour and blush, nothing with nothing, some simple highlight, and usually no eyeliner, just mascara. And I come home, I chill at home for a little while, and then, like most couples do, Saturday nights my husband and I go out. So how do I take something like this and jazz it up enough to go out for Saturday night date night without looking overdone, number one, or number two, having any issues with the makeup I've already applied? And it's really quite simple. So I thought I would show you guys what you can do if you want to take your makeup from daytime to nighttime. If you're interested in seeing how I can take something that's drab like this and turn it into glam, then stay tuned. Okay, so we're a little closer up to my face now, but you can see my foundation has kind of faded a little bit. You know, my eye makeup held on good, but it's kind of boring. It's just a basic smoky eye. And my eyebrows have pretty much held up good, but I want to do something with a little bit more pizzazz if I'm going to go out with my husband for the night. So, first things first, I'm going to clip this piece back so it stays out of my face. We're not going to apply any more foundation. I am going to moisturize my lips because my lip gloss came off, and it kind of looks something like this. I usually go with my NYX HD concealer. And don't mind me if you hear the makeup coming out. I didn't kind of plan this in advance. I'm about to film my favorites and thought, what the heck. My under eye concealer kind of breaks down slightly during the day, but I'm not going to use my NYX HD concealer for that. I'm simply going to go around my nose, around my mouth, in my forehead, kind of like that, like highlight. I'm not going to touch my nose because if you're like me, then that's where your biggest issue is. I tend to have a drier nose, and I see my foundation kind of will rub off there first, and I don't want to mess with it too much. So I'm just going to kind of warm this up with my fingers, which you really want to do, especially when you're putting it on over other makeup. And I'm just going to use my e.l.f. Flawless Concealer brush and start to work it all in all of the areas. I'm just doing this to brighten up areas that may look a little drab at the end of the day. I have a little bit left on my finger, so I'm just kind of patting that onto my nose, and then whatever excess is on the brush I will work in a little bit because I think I'm getting a pimple. Ugh. Thank God it's Friday. My husband goes out on Friday nights and I stay home and have facials to myself, so we'll be doing that today. Then what I like to do, just because I want a pick-me-up underneath the eyes and a wake-up, I use the Maybelline Age Rewind in the brightener and just go under there real quick, not with too much. I find even if I've powdered under my eyes in the morning, this kind of doesn't really interfere with that and cake up. And after you work that in with your fingers, you can go ahead and use the Age Rewind brush under there as well. So that's what it looks like when all the concealer is done. And then what I do is specifically at night is I go into my MAC palette that I've kind of custom created, and I go into that Emphasize shade, which is kind of like an off-white, and I use that with the Flawless Concealer brush and kind of work it under the eyes as my powder. It just gives a lot of extra brightness, and it's something I don't necessarily want during the day for work because it's more of a Kim Kardashian look, but if we're going out to like a restaurant in one of the nearby towns or cities, the lighting in there is dark, so you can pull it off. And that's that. Then I'm just going to take some of my Roxanne Rizzo New York Wall Street Anti-Shine Setting Powder and my Real Techniques powder brush. Pop that on there and put that where I reapplied my concealer. And then as far as the eyes are concerned, in the morning, I already went in with my Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade. I'm just going to use a little bit of my Brow Bar to Go with a different brush. And I just kind of want to refresh the color. The Anastasia is waterproof, but I do find it can break down during the day, and so you may see some edges or uneven lines in it that weren't there in the morning. And using this kind of just smooths it out and gives you a nice freshened shape again. And I'm using the lightest shade, the one in the middle, so I'm not doing too much. That's that. So the biggest thing with your eyes is you pretty much have the middle tones already because that's what I put in place this morning. So now I just want to go in and kind of darken up certain areas a little bit and lighten up the other areas again. If you did like an under eyebrow highlight, sometimes that breaks down during the day, and so we just need to kind of refresh those things and just make the eyes pop again. So that's what I do with the eyes. So what I have found works typically if I'm going to go over my eyes with a lighter or a darker shade is the Lorac Pro palettes. Let's go in just for demonstration purposes. I'm going to actually go with the Pro Palette 1, the OG. And I already have a transition shade and everything in there. I'm not going to go over that right away. First, what I'm going to do is, and these of course are dirty from this morning, though I did brush them off. They're still stained. This is a white brush typically. So I'm going to go in with this, which is supposed to be a copy almost of the MAC 217. And then for this look, let's see, what color am I feeling? I definitely want to start with a matte, so I'm just going to go in with some Sable, which is kind of like this mid chocolate brown right there. And I'm just going to put a little on the brush, tap off the excess, and work that right into the crease and outer corner, but I'm not dragging it down onto the lid in the outer corner. And I'm just going to go back and forth and start bringing it further into the crease. You can already see a slight difference as far as darkness. And you may want to put a little bit more because now I'm going to drag it onto the lid a little bit. Then we're going to do that to the other eye. And there's that. And this is the part where you can go back to recreate a transitional color. In this case, I'm just going to use Taupe, which is a light almondy brown. And I'm just going to put a little bit on what is supposed to be almost like a copy of the E40 from Sephora. And I'm just going to put that into my higher crease and blend out the Sable that we just put there. This one I don't want to do too much because we'll be going back over it after possibly. And the next thing that I like to do is take my EcoTools shader brush and go into a matte color. In this case I'm going to use the cream. And that I bring down under my arch of my brow and just all across the brow. I don't like it to be too dark in here. I find it drags down my brow shape and my whole face. So I use a matte to kind of transition the transition and blend it out, like so. Then I'm going to take my Makeup Geek stiff dome brush. I love this brush. It's like a smaller version of the E25 from Sigma, or the what's it called? I think the MAC 217. I'm going to go back in here. I do like mattes in my crease at night, so right now I'm going to go in with the Espresso, which is a darker brown. Still a matte, just putting a little on my brush and tapping it off. And this I'm not going to bring in as far as we did the Sable. I am just staying to the very, very outer corner and very outer crease, like an inverted triangle. And it's just slightly darker, right in that corner. And then I'm going to do that to the other side. That's how that looks. And then I go back to that dupe for the 217 that has the Sable. I don't add more product. I'm just going to blend out the Espresso. So that's it for the dark colors. Now I want to add some kind of light on the lid. Let's see. Now I actually use a MAC brush, if I can find it. I have a mess in front of me, and I don't care to share, so I won't be showing you. But I do go to my MAC. I think this is the 242, the number rubbed off. It's the one that looks like a concealer brush almost. It's great for pressing shadows onto the lid. And in this case, I'm going to go with the light bronze, which is almost like a champagne-y / gold color right there. I take one small dab with my brush, tap off the excess, and then I just kind of pat it on the inner half, I would say, of my lid. I don't come into the crease. This brush is great for getting a nice sharp line below there. So it kind of looks like that. So that's that. But then I go back in and take a little bit more. And now I take my MAC Fix Plus and do a spritz. And then that I press on, and it just kind of makes the color even bolder and even lighter. Like so. And you can see a slight difference between the two. It just kind of makes it a little bit more metallic. So now what I'm going to do is go back to that 217 lookalike, still no more extra product, and very gently, right where the sable is, I just go over that line where it'll merge with the light bronze. And we get a nice blended look. And then just to finish it all off with the darker colors, I take the lookalike for the E40, and I'm just going to do windshield wiper motions in my crease. And now I like to take a little pointed no-name crease brush. This is from CVS Essence of Beauty. And I'm going to go into the Champagne, which is the second one right here. That's a frost. I'm just going to do one little dip. And then that I put right underneath the arch of my brow and beyond it toward the outside of the brow. I only leave the matte on the inside. So that's it for the eyeshadow. So next we're going to do some eyeliner. When I add eyeliner, I typically go with my Kat Von D, which is my holy grail anyway, the tattoo liner in the color Trooper. But in this case, it's just really easy to work around lashes that already have mascara. Then I just kind of put my elbow on the table and I leave my eye open so that I can work above the lashes. I'm just trying to get the lash line real quick. So the lash line is done, and because I was keeping my eye open, now my eyes are red and teary. And then I just want to add a little bit of a wing. So I'm just lining it up with my lower lash line like a continuation, and then I just drag it across from the point. And now I'm filling it in. There we go. I don't think they're too far off. Okay, so they're pretty even. They come now from just the, the corner of my eye a little bit more, which is kind of where I want them at night anyway. The eyeshadow is done. We have a nice pop of color on the lid, a nice blend to the darker colors I've added in the crease. My eyebrows are fixed. All that I need is, I always take my powder brush and just go back over in case there's any fallout. I just find that this works for me really easy to just get rid of that real fast if there is. Then I'm going to take my contour brush. I actually, in case you're wondering why I keep saying no name this and copycat for that, I buy a lot of my brushes on eBay. They come from China, Korea, North and South Korea, and in all honesty, I just look for a specific type of brush, and whether it's synthetic or natural hair, and if it's natural, what it is. I tend to get a lot of my brushes anywhere from, I would say, $1 and change to like, probably the most I spent was about $8. But I got this because it's angled. It's not really necessarily a kabuki. It kind of is. Definitely very soft. This is a really good brush. I think this cost me $4 or $5. And I always start back, I'm in my drawer, with contour. I'm going to use the NYX Taupe Blush. Just take a little bit of that, and I just pop it on there. And I blend it back to my hairline. I love this brush. I can't. So that's the contour there, a little bit there, a little bit there. I'm going to warm my skin up with something else, and I don't really contour my nose. So, highlight. I do contour, highlight, and then blush. I find that works for me. So this is something I've been using a lot this week. It was limited edition. It's from the Maybelline Master Glaze in Subtle Bronze. It's like a little highlight cream blush stick. So I just take this. I'll take some of it right there, some of it right there, a little bit right in the center, and then Cupid's bow. And then I just work it in with my fingers and start to spread it out. It kind of dries to a powdery finish, so I like to work with it quickly. And when I rub like this in circular motions, I'm really not applying much pressure to my skin. So that's it for highlight. Then I'm going to use the same blush that I used this morning, which is the Milani Luminoso. I just find it's really nice for a warm summer night, and it'll go nicely with the highlight we just put on and give a glow. So once again, my Real Techniques blush brush, and I'm just going to work it kind of in between the contour and the highlight, and then a little bit on the apple, just like that. I know it looks like a lot, it's the lighting. And I always like to put a little on the tip of my nose and right there. I'm going to take one of my Monster Bundle brushes and my Roxanne Rizzo Powder Bronzer in Mulberry Street, and just take a very tiny bit toward the back by my hairline to warm it up. The same right there. And then that's what I'm going to use more along my hairline. I didn't really need a ton of contour. And then just along down here. And then I always take my powder brush without any more product and kind of go right in front of the apple just to blend that out. So all that's left are the lips, and if it's nighttime, I typically like to go for a stronger lip. So if you see me on Instagram, you follow me on Instagram, you know that this is what I went with last week. It is new. So this is the Kat Von D Everlasting Liquid Lipstick in Lolita. It's kind of like a dirty mauve almost, if that makes sense. Probably not. It's been a long day. But these they look like lip glosses. They're going to dry to a matte finish, and then they do not budge. And I absolutely love them, and trust me, so does my husband. He loves this color on me particularly. I don't find that these call for any kind of lip liner. I don't feel that it requires a gloss over it. And I just leave the balm that's still on my lips, but I don't find them drying at all. So I almost forgot that I actually need to freshen up my mascara, because if you put eyeshadow back on, you will get the shadow particles that fall onto your lashes. You could do false eyelashes. I'm going to be really honest. It's Friday night. My husband's going out. I'm not going anywhere tonight. So I just figured it'd be fun to show you what I typically do on a Saturday instead of trying to film it on Saturday when I know I'll probably be in a rush because I'll probably fall asleep mid-afternoon and take a nice little nap. So I'm not going to put false eyelashes on tonight. I probably will tomorrow, in all honesty, because that's typically how I roll on a Saturday night. But I'm just going to use the L'Oreal Manga because I find that it allows you to build up, and I like to come from above too to catch any or cover any shadow that fell. I can't stand when people put mascara on and then when they blink you can see all this light shadow on top of their lashes. But I just find that the L'Oreal allows me to build it up, lightly apply some more without making it too thick or too clumpy, and this one's really easy to use to manipulate to kind of separate and spread out the lashes. If you hear anything, Chancey is trying to get into the room, so I'm sorry. Okay, so mascara's added. I apologize for my phone. This is basically what I will do, especially even if it's if I am going out like for dinner with my girlfriends on a Friday night or whatever it may be. I might jazz up the hair a little bit more. I definitely will tomorrow night, but like I said, I'm not going anywhere, so I'm not going to go that far. But this is how I basically take my makeup I've worn all day since like 7 o'clock this morning, 6:30 this morning, and jazz it up, kind of refresh it so I can have a little bit more of a dramatic look for night. So I've definitely added to the smoky eye. I've punched up the cheeks again. I changed the lip color since I had a pretty sheer gloss on all day, and you just kind of refresh the brows. And this is what you end up with. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please go ahead, give this video a thumbs up, and if you haven't done so already, go ahead and subscribe so you can see more tutorials come in the future. I will see all of you next time. Bye!